You're watching the updates. Joining me now is a governance expert to discuss democracy and whether the space is shrinking in the country. And this follows a lot of developments, among them including the suspension of 19 opposition members of parliament by the Speaker of the National Assembly, citing gross misconduct. Some stakeholders have expressed displeasure to suspend, whilst many others think this is the right move which the Speaker made. Her decision was justified. To look at this and more is Sikwindi Situla, who is a governance expert and is no stranger on the update and comes in to discuss this very interesting matter. Good to see you.
Good to see you too, frankly.
Always a pleasure having you, and nice to hear what your thoughts are going to be. Now, there's so many things that are happening, and you always have different thoughts on all these matters. But yesterday, the Minister of Information scoffed at the suggestion that the democratic space in the country is shrinking. Do you agree with him?
I definitely agree with the minister on this one. It's a matter of hallucination. You know, the truth of the matter is that I think that we've got political players that have failed to accept that the country has moved on, that we have ordered ourselves to the rule of law, and that the space is expanding in terms of the horizon for democratic engagement, that institutions are being reformed. Where there was chaos, there's now community. And those are very fundamental ways of, you know, applying a yardstick on our own activities of governance. I mean, the law reform agenda is in its gear. I mean, it was interesting to hear about the Freedom of Information Bill and everything else, you know, taking space, their shape. But what is democracy? Democracy does not mean anarchy. So I think what we've had is that we've had members of parliament who want to bring chaos, you know, in our National Assembly, if you like, in parliament. And that is an export of, you know, the character of what they've been, you know, in their respective political parties, if you like. And that is quite unfortunate. And I think that the laws of this country, you know, do apply even in terms of the space of parliament. There are rules and procedures. I had watched one of the clips where, you know, I think some members of parliament outside parliament, you know, were complaining about the speaker not giving them an opportunity to raise their opinion and all that. But they went further. One of them went further and said that they don't even somehow recognize the speaker. So why would you be in a parliament where you don't recognize the person who superintends over the affairs of parliament? That's denial, and that's anarchy. And I think that what the speaker has done is demonstration that, you know, don't take women for granted after all. Because sometimes people want to think that because we have a woman, you know, for a speaker, then they can, you know, just have their way and abuse, you know, that particular person in that position, which is wrong.
So parliamentary proceedings are for the public to view, because now there is Parliament TV, Parliament Radio, and you give credit to the late former Speaker, Honorable Amusa Mwanamwambo. I think that came out very, very, very vividly. But fast forward, here we are, where it's not privileged anymore for the public to you know, be part of the proceedings.
Yes.
What do you make of the recent developments where 19 you know, members of parliament were suspended? There's thoughts to it. The speaker was justified. No, she wasn't. What's yours?
Well, I think that there's not a single element of the rules of procedure of the House that she broke. So in which case she was acting within, you know, the parameters of what, you know, her her powers as, you know, are as stated. So, but from there must be a natural law, yeah, which should apply to everybody, you know, whether you are, you know, president of the country or you are, you know, working in a council somewhere. I think we all are called to a natural law to respect others, and this country is well cultured in that direction. So she didn't break any law. She exercised, you know, her powers, And that also tells us that don't push people too far, because they will apply the power that is within, as written on our books and beyond, to get things done in a particular way. So there's absolutely nothing wrong. It's unfortunate it happened. There should have not been any reason to do that. But I think that the members of the Patriotic Front must always recall that the major reason why the Zambian people actually kicked them out of government is hooliganism. Zambians love their peace, for whatever it is, and for whatever that defines us. And I think that that is a semblance of distinction. We are distinct in our own way of democratic expression. We love peace. We love to respect people. We have people of a placid disposition, even to people who come from outside.
Right.
So we have got...
and it's important. We could delve into discussing the Patriotic Front, or we could go into discussing independent members of parliament.
Absolutely,
or indeed UPND members. But I thought we could discuss the parliament itself, as it were. To some people, this is new. This has not happened before. This is a speaker that is doing this when it is not supposed to be done. Is there any reference to this kind of action?
There are many, many instances. The only thing that has changed is the number. There are many people who have been reprimanded, even when UPND was in opposition. You can cite many cases. There are people who will be told to stay away for a day, to miss a session for a day. It depends on the magnitude. And what we witnessed, now that is the interesting one, what we witnessed, that day, I think it was on the 1st of November or so, what we witnessed that day in Parliament has never happened in this country in our recent history. We've not seen, there was almost an exchange of blows in Parliament. Now, what we will be saying, with regards to our national values, what will we be saying with regards to what we claim to be as a Christian nation? So there must be a semblance of people who go in that place must have a fitter temper to debate, discuss, and use their broad, spectrum of rights, on the floor of the House to argue, discuss, and where they feel they have not been handled, with the respect that they deserve. There is again a rule. There is again a procedure they can undertake before they engage into things that are otherwise emotional matters, or they are emotive in their right, in their all complete sense, as we witness. So the Speaker was right, and it remains for the members of Parliament to reflect if that is in fact the character that is expected of them from their constituencies in their discharge of duty in the House. I think it's important for them to respect that they will only win their wars by arguing with succinct, rather than become good at exchanging blows and hooliganism in its total sense, and that is appalling to say. We are all bewildered by what we saw there. I mean, it's troubling. It's not good at all. It shows the character of what you can expect, even in the near elections as they unfold. I think the Speaker did her best to show that they must restrain themselves from such conduct, because in future, if they are allowed to continue, that House will have no control. And democracy is about order. It's about procedure. And it's not about unilateral, decisions. The Speaker's decision is not unilateral, because it comes from the rules that are provided for.
You've heard efforts or moves to impeach the Speaker. What have you made out of that?
Now, that is also an interesting element, because whatever was taking place on that day, I think is preceded also by some act of innuendo. Now, I want to go to the cause of that. I mean, it's like we have a government that is delivering on all the areas where we thought we could pull them down, to the floor. And now we have no other reason to advance to justify our existence. And therefore, we must go on and cry for things that don't make sense at all. It's nonsensical to think that this country has lost its way and is navigating itself to a downward spiral when it comes to democratic engagement and democratic space. It's nonsensical. The truth of the matter is that people could not even speak the way we speak. The truth of the matter is that we have got a record of people who have actually died. And I think that to respect those, lives, we need to celebrate our democracy in terms of what happened in August in 2021 with a sense of responsibility yet again to understand that we have made progress. Now we can talk as brothers and sisters, even when we have got difference of opinions. Now we don't have to get, just break into ZNBC and order everybody to do as we wish. Now we have not, subdued. No one feels subdued whatsoever, because everybody has got equal rights and they are respected before the law the same way everyone else, needs to be respected, without having to consider whether they come from a larger family of political endeavor or a smaller family or tribe and so on and so forth. And largely, what we have seen of this group that largely suspended is a movement of tribalism. That's what they are. It's tribalism that's at play. It's really unfortunate, and I think that we must look at our torchbearers with respect and call ourselves to their vision of uniting the country. We are beautiful together as one. And I think that is how the construction of our law establishment in this country, looks like. That everybody else is the same.
How confident are you, as we close, that after these suspensions have been served, that won't happen again, that this is in itself a matter that won't repeat itself? Well, and especially if you consider that it's Parliament, emotions run high, people will always differ in opinion, and that some will exercise what they will consider as privilege on the floor of the House.
Zambia will be 60 years next year. And in the history of this country, we've had very hot, discussions in that House. It has never boiled down to try and, bring ashes in the House. No. What, we need to know is that should just not happen. I don't even want to think that it will happen, something like that will happen, or something even worse than that should ever happen. That must stop, and it stops forthwith. We, the Zambian people, should say to our, leaders whom we elect to represent us with sobriety, good temper, and you should engage on the merits and demerits of the matters, under discussion when you are, before the floor of the House. So I think that if that ever happens, then it will be a demonstration that we have got a bigger problem, to deal with, and that all of us must be ashamed of it and must all, endear ourselves to finding solutions so that the country should be making progress where it needs to make progress. Now it's time to engage economically, and now it's time to, break the barriers of social divides. Social justice must set in, however we see it, from which angle it comes in. But we must all be called to respect the law and to, make sure that, when we are aggrieved, we go back to the law to follow the law as is established.
Tell you what, thank you for time as usual for coming through. I'm sure we'll have you again. This raises more and more discussions regarding whether or not the democratic space is shrinking. But as far as you're concerned, it is not.
It's not, totally not.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much.
Sikwindi Situla, governance expert on the update, which takes a short break. And when we come back, we look at what some young people are doing to change their communities.